I want to be clear about something up front. My faith is not shaken. I know why I believe in Jesus Christ and that He is the Messiah. I have spent the last year studying that hard. And I can tell you with confidence that my foundation is solid. That is not what this video is about. This video is about a different question, one I haven't been able to answer yet. Why do I worship the way I worship? And that question has been keeping me up at night. And I think it should keep you up at night too. For the last year, I've not been sitting in a church building on Sunday mornings. Some people would hear that and assume I just walked away from my faith. The opposite is actually true. I have been in the Bible more this last year than I have been in a long time, asking harder questions and digging into things I used to just skim past, sitting with things that made me uncomfortable instead of moving on to the next comfortable thing. And comfortable is a word that I'll come back to frequently. I know why I believe what I believe about Jesus. That part is not a mystery to me. But here's what I keep running into. I can explain the resurrection. I can explain why I believe the New Testament is reliable. I can explain why I believe Jesus is who He said He is. What I cannot explain is why I have been worshiping in a room full of smoke machines and a concert-level band and a sermon designed to make me feel good about myself and go home feeling encouraged. I kept asking internally, is this it? Is this what church is supposed to be? And I did not have an honest answer. I grew up a Baptist in the Deep South. Church on Sunday was just what you did. And as an adult, I moved more towards non-denominational churches. And I want to be fair here. There are real people in those churches with real faith, and I'm not attacking anyone. But I have to be honest about what I was participating in. Comfortable seating, great lighting, a worship experience built more around feeling something than understanding anything. There were small groups and volunteer service availability, but we barely participated. And that is on us too. And somewhere along the way, I started asking a question I did not want to ask. Was I worshiping the way I was worshiping because it was true and right and historically grounded? Or was I worshiping the way I was worshiping because it was what I was handed and I never questioned it and I was comfortable? That is not the same question, and the answer matters. Let me tell you what I am not. I am not a theologian. I am not a pastor. I am not a historian. I am not ordained. I have no letters behind my name that qualify me to stand up and tell you what is correct doctrine. I know that. And for a long time, I let that be my excuse to stay in the shallow end. I would make Christian content. I would talk about faith. And then I would pull scripture that supported the point I was trying to make. That's verse harvesting. Pulling what landed without always giving the full weight or context that surrounded it. Not in an effort to deceive anyone. I generally believe what I'm saying. But I was staying in the verses I knew instead of doing the harder work of full context and full tradition and full history as necessary. Because here is the truth. This debate is not new. The questions I'm asking right now have been debated for at least 500 years. Some of them since the resurrection itself. Smarter men than me have spent their entire lives on these questions. This is not new information to the world. It is new information to me and to my family, and that is the problem. I have this nagging feeling that I should not be this far into my life without being able to answer why I worship the way I worship. Not with inherited assumptions, with actual understanding. In August 2024, our latest tragedy was our home burned down. And after the smoke cleared from that, a family member asked me a simple question. Did anyone from your church reach out to help you? And I had to think about it. A lot of community members did. There was outreach to help. But the honest answer to that question was no, not in any meaningful way. And now I have to own my part in that as well. My wife and I attended a very large church, thousands of people, and we sat in the back. We showed up and went home. We never fully really let anyone in. So when we needed something, nobody knew to come. That's our fault. But that question cracked something open for me. How did I end up in a building that large with that many people and feel that invisible? And that's just a question about the model, not just about us. What is the church actually supposed to be? What does real community look like? What did the people that came before the smoke machines and the concert lights think they were doing when they gathered together? So I started pulling that thread. And the more I pulled, the more I realized I did not know nearly as much as I thought I did. My son is now 17 years old. Over the last several months, he has gone to a Catholic Mass by himself more than once. What he has said is that something felt wrong with what he had been experiencing, and he went looking for something different. He is 17, and he is already doing something I had not really done yet. He walked into a building he knew nothing about and sat down and looked for God, and I am proud of him for that. And I am convicted by it. My son is 17 and already asking the questions I should have been asking years ago. I have a responsibility to my family, not just to support their search, to lead it. Right now, I could not have an honest conversation with my son about what he is finding in that building. I have opinions. I have assumptions I've inherited from people who have had assumptions of their own. I understand Catholicism and Orthodoxy traditions in a general way, and that they're different from what I grew up in, but I cannot tell you why with any real depth or accuracy. And that is not leadership. That is me defaulting, me being comfortable. And I do not default. I am not worried about comfort, not anymore. So over the past 15 years, I've built this framework that I now call the TRB method: truth, responsibility, becoming. A lot of people hear that and they think it's a straight line. You find truth, you take responsibility, you become, and you're done. And that's not how it works. Truth is not a one-time event. You revisit at every corner on every topic. The moment you stop being willing to examine what you believe and why you believe it, you stop living in truth and you start living in comfort. I've been applying this framework to a lot of areas of my life, and I'll continue to do so. Rebuilding myself, my mental health, my mission in general. But I can honestly say that I've been soft on my faith because I've been comfortable in my faith. I don't doubt my faith, but I haven't been building it. And the TRB method is built on the Christian faith as its foundation. I believe that completely. But I have been building on a foundation I have not fully examined myself. And that ends now. Not because I'm lost or I'm necessarily in doubt. I'm not deconstructing. Because I'm just not willing to build something permanent on something I cannot fully defend. The mission I believe God is calling me into with the nonprofit, the work I'm trying to do for the veterans, first responders, and men in general who are trying to rebuild their lives, all of it has to be as solid and accurate as I can make it. I owe that to the people I am trying to serve, and I owe it to my family first. Again, I am not a theologian. I am not a historian. I am not a pastor. I am a man. I am a father. I am a veteran. I am a former first responder. And most importantly, I am a son of God. And I believe my purpose is more than what I have been operating in. So here's what I am committing to do with my TRB method and my truth, my responsibility, my becoming. I'm going to document my study and conclusions on the history, not just the verses that I already know, the actual history of the Christian church, what existed before the Reformation, what the early church believed, why it split, what stayed and what changed and why. Not every detail, not trying to be an apologist, not to be something I'm not, just to be transparent about where I am as a man. I'm going to Mass with my son. I'm going to ask the questions I have been too comfortable to ask out loud. And I'm going to document it. Not because I have answers, because I think there are men watching this right now who are in the exact same place. You're not sure what you believe, or you know exactly what you believe, and you're not sure why you worship the way you worship. You're just comfortable. You're just going through the motions. You have a family. You're supposed to be leading and you feel like you're one step behind where you should be. This is me saying I am right there with you. I'm not starting this journey right now. I have been on it already for a year. I am just getting honest and transparent about where it is actually going. And if that is you, stay close. Drop something in the comments. Tell me where you are on your journey and your suggestions for our family. Maybe we can figure it out together. God bless you.